Hey guys, what's going on? In this video we are going to be taking a closer look at the GMMK Pro that I have here. So this is the box that arrives in, which I quite like. I think it's nice when companies take a second to really consider their packaging, like Glorious has. So once you get the box open, you are greeted with this card here, which is pretty straightforward stuff, so I am just going to put that to the side. Take off this top layer of foam. Next we have the silica gel, which I'm not too sure what that is, but we can just throw that away. And then also included is a Glorious branded sticker, which I really do like stickers, so I'm sure that will find its way onto something very shortly. And here is the main event. But first, I just want to draw your attention to how much foam is in the actual box here. Always good to see to help protect against shipping damage. And man, is this keyboard heavy. I almost needed two hands there. So also included is a USB Type-C cable, a switch and keycap puller, and some additional gaskets. So let's get that out of the box and we can really start to see what we have here. So let's really zoom in on this and you can really start to see the quality of the machining here. Very, very good overall, and I've been looking all across the keyboard for blemishes and have been unable to find any. So hopefully that is the case with everyone else's keyboard as well. The USB-C connection is also centered, which I really like. And not that you'll see it all too often, but look how good that deep groove of the Glorious logo looks on the back of the case. So next we can disassemble the back just by loosening these 8 screws here. And while I'm working on that, I just want to take this time to be very clear about who this keyboard is for. So if you are someone who has been around the custom mechanical keyboard scene for a while now and you are looking for ultra premium features, I can tell you this board is definitely not the one for you. However, if you are someone coming from a gaming keyboard, for example, and want to take your keyboard game to the next level, this is really a great choice and should be on your radar. And I think this keyboard really hits its stride when you talk about overall value. So for $170, you get a fully machined aluminum case and the option to fully customize your switches and your stabilizers and any other modifications you may want to make. So once those screws are removed, you can just turn it over and place it on a flat surface. You want to be very careful here and slowly remove the top of the case from the bottom and then just tilt it to the side. So that way you can disassemble the daughter board connection. So usually it's easiest to just kind of use your nail and then just push that connection until they are separated. So next let me just take away this bottom layer of foam so you can see the daughter board. And you'll notice that there isn't actually a groove machined into the bottom of the case, and that just helps to clean up this wire connection here, which is pretty well done. And I'll just put that foam back into place and we can take a closer look at the PCB. So this is what the PCB looks like here. Everything on it is Glorious branded, including the switch sockets. And the PCB color will also vary depending on which one you have. So this is the black slate color, but the one for white ice is white, as you would imagine. And then once you get the rotary encoder off here, you can just pull on the top of the case and it should separate from the plate and the PCB. So that is what the top looks like. And then standard is the aluminum plate here, which we will be changing to polycarbonate in just a second. And then we can just remove all this hardware to get the plate off. There are these 2 posts that connect the plate through to the PCB, which I haven't seen before. So let me just get those off and we can take a closer look. So the top half of that is a regular screw. And then once you disassemble it, there is a post that holds everything together here. So that is pretty much what it looks like. And the screw just fastens into the top. Next, looking at the side, there are these translucent plastic pieces which help distribute the lighting effects evenly. So pretty much how the light that I'm using now is working, sort of like a diffuser. And those are also held in by 2 screws on each side, which you will need to take off in order to disassemble everything. And I think what's going to become evident as we go on here is just how much hardware this keyboard has, which sort of brings me to my next point, as this keyboard is technically gasket mounted as it's supported on the edges by the case. Including this much hardware in the assembly, you're really not left with any flex, as it sort of creates this monolithic unit basically. So in this video a little bit later on, I'm actually going to be taking out some of the screws. And in fact, since I've recorded this video, I've gone ahead and taken out most of the hardware. And I think I only have 3 screws holding the plate to the PCB right now. So it may be another modification that you want to do just to help to get a little bit more flex in the actual keyboard. So it seems like I really got into too much of a rhythm just taking the hardware out of the back here, as I also unscrewed the supports for the stabilizers, which I didn't mean to do. Although I will be replacing the stabilizers very shortly. I do have a set on the way right now, so maybe you will be seeing that in the future. For now, I will be using the Glorious Goat stabilizers. I will say it was a little bit aspirational of Glorious calling them the Goat stabilizers. They're certainly not the worst stock stabilizers, but they are definitely far from the best. And you can see I have accidentally taken off the stabilizers as well. Now, on the back of the PCB, if you don't want to do that, everywhere where there is a screw with a white circle around it indicates that it is a mounting point for the stabilizers. So if you're not looking to do what I did, do not take those screws out. So for some reason, and I'm not too sure why, there is a piece of adhesive holding the foam to the aluminum plate here. It seems pretty secure already. I'm not quite sure why they did that, and it is kind of annoying, as I want to use this foam on the polycarbonate plate as well. So really do be very careful and try not to rip this foam. So right about there is where the adhesive is. And you kind of just want to slowly pry it off. And definitely go slow on that if you need to. But once you get it off, the foam looks like that. And I'm just going to put the aluminum plate off to the side. So there are 3 different plate materials available for this keyboard. The first, obviously, is the aluminum that it comes with. The second is brass, and then the third is polycarbonate. Now, the consensus seems to be that brass has the hardest typing experience, aluminum is somewhere in the middle, and then polycarbonate is the softest. And it's also worth noting that it works much like the diffusers for the side lighting, and you will really see your lighting shine through. The typing experience on the polycarbonate is already hard enough, so I really can't imagine what typing on the brass is like. So if you are someone that is looking for a keyboard with a very soft typing experience, this also may not be the keyboard for you. Although I did see a very interesting modification online, which was utilizing a triple gasket and then taking away the hardware from the plate to the PCB, so you may want to check that out as well. And now that our plate and PCB are together, I'm just going to do the exact same thing and put the hardware back in place. So while I'm working on that, and what you'll see very shortly Once I finished getting everything together, I did a little bit of a flex test and really wasn't too happy with the amount of flex that I was getting. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take some of the hardware out. So here's that flex test. And you can really see, even with the polycarbonate plate here, just how little flex there is. And to finish the thought that I was saying earlier, is right now I think I only have 2 screws at the top of the PCB on the top left and top right, and then 1 on the bottom towards the middle. And even then, there's not really too much flex. So I've been using it for about a month now, and I am still making changes to it. So hopefully I can introduce a little bit more flex into the assembly. And then we can just fasten those frosted plastic pieces in as well. And then here's what everything looks like in the internals. And then next we can put those 2 posts back in. So you take your bottom piece here, and you can see that shape. And that will dictate how it goes into the PCB. Now, like I was alluding to earlier, since the first time that I put this keyboard together, I have gone ahead and removed both of those posts, and it has made the keyboard slightly better, although there are some other things that you could do. But if you are going to use these 2 posts here, you can also put them in fairly loosely, so there is a little bit of give. And then next we can reassemble the PCB and daughter board connection. So pretty much the same thing here. Just hold the top of the keyboard, and you can use your nail to help guide that connection into place. And then just be a little bit careful as you fit those 2 pieces together and make sure that daughter board connection is in that groove. And then before bringing the top down, just make sure that everything is in the right place, as you would with any other keyboard. So that is looking pretty good. And then just reassemble the top of the case. And we'll do the same steps from earlier, just in reverse. I'm going to go ahead and flip that onto the back. Just be very careful and hold everything together. And then once again, we can get those 8 screws. So probably the best way that you want to reassemble everything is secure the corners first, and then don't completely tighten everything until all the screws are in place. You just want to have the keyboard giving even pressure on all of the connections. And then once that's ready to go, we can put the rotary encoder back on. Now some people may think the rotary encoder is a little bit gimmicky, and maybe it is, but I do really like it. And with this keyboard you can program it to do other things than just volume. So next let's take a little bit of a closer look at the switches. These are the Acco Matcha Greens. And you'll notice it is a 3-pin switch design. So your 2 metal pins here and the plastic one. So the metal pins go towards the top, and then you can just press them into place. Let's kick that up a notch. So either I have utilized the magic of video editing, or I really am that quick. Up to you to decide. But the Matcha Green switches here, I was quite impressed with them, especially for their overall value, which is insane. And you should definitely take a look online if you're interested. So that's the way the switches sound here, and this is all stock, of course. And then the keycap set that I'm going to be going with is the Glorious Ocean Blues, which is a PBT keycap set. And overall, I would say the material is nice, but I don't know whether it's a difference in the renderings or the fonts and the legends, but there is something different about the way that these keycaps look in person versus the renderings that you'll find online. So overall, I don't think I'd recommend this keycap set, or any of the glorious ones for that matter. And in fact, I've already gone ahead and changed out my keycap set, and I think that you'll find you can get just a good quality for half the price on places like AliExpress, which I ordered from. So highly recommend going with something different instead. So these are all the keycaps that it comes with. And in fact, there's enough of them here to fill out a 100% keyboard. So we are going to have some leftover ones, as this is a 75% layout. So same thing here, put everything together. And then I am going to go very quickly in just a moment. So as I was putting on the keycaps here, I did notice on the stabilizers that it was very sticky. So I'm not sure if this is a problem that other people are having or if it was just this particular keyboard. And I'm also going to lay out a little bit differently than some of the standard ones that Glorious has been showing, which really is the advantage of going custom and being able to assign custom key bindings, for example. So once you have that set on, this is how it looks like. It's not terrible, but there are some weird things like the delete key and just some other choices that they've made with this keycap set. But that, of course, is my opinion, and you're free to do whatever you want.